SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
Good afternoon and welcome to the iGaming Daily, brought to you by Optimove, the #1 CRM solution for the iGaming market. And before we get into today's episode, I want to pay tribute to one of our speakers at the SBC Summit, who at the weekend captured UFC gold. Merab Dvalishvili beat Sugar Sean O'Malley in what was just a crazy, innovative event at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Yeah, he defied the odds, and he will be coming to the SBC Summit in Lisbon as the king of the UFC's bantamweight division. So very exciting, as if the event couldn't get any more prestigious and alluring. Yeah, UFC gold adds to the card on next week in Lisbon. And I'm joined today by Fernando and Isadora from our Latin American team. Both guys, how are you both doing? Looking forward to next week, Fernando?
Yeah, very excited. I'll be looking from the sideline, unfortunately, but I'll be really into the event, and then all that develops in Lisbon. So I hope everybody gets to enjoy one of the biggest event the company has done so far, and the greatest show in gaming. So make sure you go to Lisbon next week and join everybody there. I'm really excited of what the event is going to be. So yeah.
Fantastic. And Isadora making the journey over, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'm making it. I'm going to be traveling on Saturday next week. So I'm really excited to be there. It's my first time in Lisbon too. So yeah, it will be, like Fer said, it's going to be like, from what we could see, like the biggest event of the industry. So it's exciting. I'm a bit nervous as well because this is going to be big. It's like 100,000 square meters and more than 25 people. So it's a lot of people and a lot of space. But yeah, I'm really happy and excited to be there.
Yeah, and it set amid a backdrop of a really beautiful city in Lisbon as well. So yeah, very exciting. But on to today's discussion, Issa. Yeah, the banning of Twitter, it's a really interesting one. I spoke about it with on the affiliate day 2 weeks ago, last week. And yeah, it really has just caused a really emotive response, this one. Can you just give us an introduction of how we got here? And yeah, who made this decision and what led to them making this decision?
Okay, so like just to make it simple, because it's a bit complicated, but like just to make it simple, what happened was that Alexandre de Moraes, or Supreme Court judge, determined that X should actually ban some profiles in, I cannot say X, I'm going to say Twitter, should ban some profiles on Twitter from people that were being investigated by our Supreme Court judges. But they were all people that were clearly against the current government. So Elon Musk actually said that he wouldn't block these people because this is censorship. This is not freedom of speech. And the reason why he bought Twitter and turned it into X was to, and that's what he said, to protect freedom of speech. So because a lot of profilers were being shut down in Brazil. And Alexandre de Moraes really didn't like that. So he said that he was going to arrest the reps of Twitter in Brazil. Elon Musk, in order to protect the employees, decided to shut down the office in Brazil. So Twitter didn't have a legal representative in Brazil. And then Alexandre de Moraes decided to ban Twitter in Brazil. That was basically what happened.
Am I correct in thinking Moraes gave them gave the company run by Elon Musk an ultimatum that they need to hire somebody for this role before a certain date, or Twitter will be outlawed in Brazil?
Yeah,
and he didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they said that he needed to point out a person to be the legal representative in Brazil. Elon Musk didn't do it. So here we are right now. No Twitter access.
Wow, yeah, quite crazy, especially when you give the scale of Twitter in Brazil. And just really quickly, just to kind of get some insight into something you just said there, the profiles that were under investigation. What were those investigations about?
Well, it's a bit weird because they say, look, what's happening in Brazil right now, it's a bit complicated because they say that they were being investigated for sharing misinformation, like fake news.
Yeah.
But we don't have this crime in Brazil. It's not a crime to share fake news. It's not a crime to lie. So we don't have a crime of opinion as well. And we have some deputies that are arrested until now are in jail because of a crime of opinion. And they use the argument that is a hate crime. Actually, it's a hate speech, or it's a speech that leads to hate. That's why they should be arrested or they should be blocked. But when you see actually some of the tweets, it's only their opinion about certain things that, okay, it could be sometimes it has like an aggressive tone, the message when you read, but it's not like a hate speech. It's not a speech that leads to hate or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's going crazy because we don't actually know what they're being accused of.
Okay, I guess the other side of that would be, and I haven't seen the tweets, but the other side of that, maybe that that type of thing can incite actions of others. Maybe would be the cause. There would be the potential reasoning.
It could. We don't actually know because it's being like it's like a secret investigation, so we don't have access to what they're saying.
Okay.
We just know that they're being accused of not complying with the rules or posting hate speech. But again, we don't have a crime of hate speech. We don't have a crime of opinion. We don't have a crime for like sharing fake news. And all these people are down basically for it. So that's our main concern.
And I think if they would go after people that shares misinformation or makes an opinion based on something that may not be entirely true to make it give it a little makeup, they should probably like go after over half the people on Twitter. So I think it's a bit ridiculous.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Fernando, Twitter in Brazil is not, it's not, it wasn't anyway, it wasn't, a small proportion. It wasn't a small vertical. It has a huge market share in Brazil, right? Like such a big percentage of Brazilians used Twitter or X to kind of, share stories and to communicate on digital platforms. As a marketing tool in Brazil, it's massive.
Yeah, I think it's we're talking in the hundreds of millions of users here, and Twitter has become like a major source of information and communication worldwide, not only Brazil. Yeah. So companies have like going after social media to market, and they are honking to make their way through. And so it's really big that they go after a platform like this and straight up ban the use of the platform and go after the people that try to use it used through VPNs and stuff like that. They said like they would find people with like 10,000 reais. Is that so, Isa?
Actually, it's much more, 50,000 BRL.
50,000. So it's $10,000, right?
Yeah, $10,000. Yeah, per day.
So you're like Diego Maradona said once, they cut my legs off, when they kicked him out of the World Cup in the 94. So they are cutting not only gambling companies, like everything, every company, every business, they are cutting their legs off.
Well, yeah, that's kind of is a good segue there, really, I guess. How does this kind of lead to the gambling industry? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of companies eyeing the Brazilian market now. They're looking to move in there. How is this going to impact their strategies when it comes to engaging with players and acquiring new players?
Well, I see Twitter as the most interactive platform out there, much more than Instagram, much more than Facebook, or even Threads, that I don't think it catch so well. Like I think a lot of people is there, but they're not using it so much. And Twitter has a very great form of interaction. So once you cut that, you're not only cut the interaction between the company and the players, but you cannot do like ads anymore in Twitter, that we know it's a huge thing and we know they have a very good rate conversion. You cannot promote anymore, or share your bonuses or your tips for players, or share the news, exclusive news that the company has, or the new ambassador of the brand. And you can, when you cannot do that, you cannot actually reach these customers, because especially in Brazil, we have a lot of sports betting companies on Instagram, but it's not the same. You don't see the same interaction, the same engagement that you see on Twitter. So, it's not only with gambling, it's with every single, store or brand that is on Twitter. You have a very good rate conversion when you promote your business there, different than when you do that on Instagram.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And Fernando, I'll bring you in there. How this is going to affect gambling, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because you may think, okay, so Twitter is out. Let's go to Instagram. Let's go to TikTok, or TikToki, as Brazilians would call it. But not everyone. It's not the same audience or not the same user base as Twitter had. Like, Twitter is more of a broader audience. Like, everyone is using Twitter, like from the young people to the older ones. And maybe TikTok is for like more of a youth audience, and Instagram is more of a young or younger but mid-age audience. So they really have to like balance things out and start assessing how to target different types of audiences through these platforms. Like, let's go to Instagram and try to do advertise for some crowd. And I don't see them going big on TikTok, because, like I said, it's more of the youngest side of the audience, probably. Even though I am a big advocate of TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if you're allowed to market gambling on TikTok. I think regulations restrict gambling operators from advertising on TikTok. Yeah, because of the reasons you say. It's used by a much younger generation, and also, yeah, I think a much younger generation engaged with TikTok. So I don't think you're allowed. And the complexities around that from a compliance point of view would be very difficult because of the young audience. So you'd have to prove that you aren't trying to appeal to them. I guess the other side of the coin for the gambling industry is kind of the principles of it. When I was on the SBC Digital Affiliate Marketing Day 2 weeks ago, we did discuss this, and Carlos Sanchez, the CEO at Tipster Chats, kind of said that it may well act as a warning for the industry, that if governments can take this type of action, if they can be restrictive with platforms. It's X today, Twitter today, but what could it be tomorrow? There will be nervousness that, it could be other platforms in the future if they aren't kind of taking the exact steps that the government wants. And that's a very dangerous game, right?
I believe it is 100%. As a journalist, I'm 100% freedom of speech fan. So I think people should be allowed to say anything they want. And if they commit a crime when they say something, then they will face the consequences and do what and face what they have to face. But you cannot censorship someone before they give speech or a platform before, so nobody can go there and say what they do. Actually, this is like a witch hunt. That's what we see, and that's how we call, because actually they cannot do that. The Supreme Court in Brazil cannot do this kind of things. And what we are seeing in the past few years is our Supreme Court just throwing our constitution in the trash and not following constitution rules. So what's happening right now, it's not legal, it's illegal, but nobody's doing anything. We see that the Congress doesn't do anything. We see, and it's the only, the Congress has the only people that could actually do something to stop this, and they're not doing it. So, it's really dangerous because, like you said, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Today is Twitter, tomorrow it could be Instagram, and then it could be Facebook, and then if you don't comply with or Supreme Court desires, let's put it that way, because it's not a law that he's asking to be followed. It's just like what he wants. So it's really dangerous because it gives you a lot of legal insecurity because you don't know what's going to happen. And this actually could stop companies from coming to Brazil. Like, okay, I'm not going to open an office in Brazil. I'm not going to set up everything, pay the license of 30 million BRL and pay GGR and have a cash like 5 million BRL in cash in a different account that I need to have in order to pay prices, let's say, that I don't have this amount of money. So I have this another bank account with this money in case this happens. And I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to know what's going to happen next. So why am I, investing all of this money in a country that I don't know what's going to tell me to do next that could harm my businesses?
Yeah, it certainly adds a level of volatility to the market. And one of the things that was kind of said was that, there had been affiliates in the region that after this, and also similarly of a similar principle after, Telegram was banned in various regions, not in Brazil, I don't believe, but I could be wrong there. But Telegram, kind of suffered this regulatory clampdown. Off the back of both of those decisions, affiliates from a lot of areas and tipsters from a lot of areas were lost. They didn't know where to go. They kind of needed a new avenue. So it certainly does create a level of volatility in the market. And Fernando, Elon Musk, he's obviously, he's a little bit maverick. He's a little bit out there. He doesn't mince his words. I'm sure he's not minced his words on this one, right?
Yeah, of course, there's a big political component to this whole thing. Like Elon Musk has been a big advocate for Donald Trump, or for a more of a right-wing side of the politic landscape in general, worldwide. Like he's backed President Javier Milei from Argentina. He's backed, of course, Donald Trump's campaign in the US. And he's been very vocal against Lula da Silva. So, who's president of Brazil, in case you don't know, guys. I think that makes a very big component to this whole thing, because probably if Elon Musk weren't the guy he is, like he didn't have the personality he has, he wouldn't act like he usually does and post everything he posts, especially those messages against the Brazilian government. Probably there would be a different approach to this whole process. Like there probably, like Isa said, probably the president would urge the Congress to act if the Supreme Court would go after X, and he would try probably to be more conciliatory, like to bring both parties together. So
it is political.
It's very political. Of course, everything is political, really, in life, and especially in business. But I think probably Elon Musk and his personality and how he usually acts on social media can bring this type of things. But then, of course, we are left to assess. Each one of us can have their own opinion on this, but it can have a very negative impact, of course, in freedom of speech, in freedom of the usage of internet, and a whole lot of things.
No, Elon Musk is posting some memes regarding Lula, the relationship between Lula, the president, and Alexandre, the Supreme Court judge. And it's very offensive. Yeah. So it's like, but I mean, again, it's offensive, but it's freedom of speech. So like, it's funny to see because, when he started like not attacking only Moraes, but Lula went to his, Instagram account and said that no billionaires are above Brazilian law. But Alexandre de Moraes is not a billionaire, and he is above the law because he's doing things that are not like contemplating our constitution. So like Fer said, it was perfect. It is 100% political. All the situation, it is political.
And I guess the kind of political back and forth, the fact it's being kind of used as a political football, the posting, the kind of tongue-in-cheek Elon Musk response, as you mentioned there, which is only going to kind of inflame the situation. It kind of it. What really matters is the ripple effect this is going to have on businesses in Brazil. And I want to bring it back to that because, there will be just a myriad, I think, was it 114, 113 companies that kind of registered to be part of the Brazilian framework. And it will be more than that as well. They are currently right now, they're having this blueprint for their marketing strategy to go into the Brazilian market and to tap into a Brazilian audience. How much are they going to have to change what they do and change that marketing strategy, knowing not just that X isn't there anymore, that Twitter isn't there anymore, but also knowing that there's kind of this level of volatility that the government will take action like this?
I would say that they will have to change 100% because including like the focus of each social media is different. Like Twitter is text, basically. You focus on text and interaction. So it's like a big WhatsApp group, an open WhatsApp group where everybody can give their opinions and talk through the threads. But Instagram, for instance, the focus is image. So you have to have a different approach because you have to do an image for like anything you want to promote or anything you want to share with your audience. So definitely will have to be somewhat so different. TikTok or Chiquitoki, like Farewell pointed out. I mean, like we said, we don't know if they're going to allow this to happen there due to the age that is allowed to access TikTok. But again, it's video. And it's short videos and it has to be fast and engaging because if you don't like the video, you just scroll down to another one. It's much faster actually and easier than Instagram. So, they would have to change everything because each platform has a different approach and has a different purpose as well. Like it's not the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. And Fernando, anything to add there? Companies are really going to have to change how they approach this, right?
Yeah. First thing I thought of when I heard like they wouldn't be allowed to market on Twitter because it's banned, I was like, okay, so maybe you get to know you get your brand known by the Brazilians through sponsorship, maybe. But that's a very saturated market right now in Brazil. Like every football team probably has by now betting partner, and betting companies are looking like to sponsor all sorts of things like rodeo or even markets in Brazil. So it's a very saturated market. Like you said, there's 113 operators that have applied for a license only in this stage of the process. Like it's operators that want to get their license by December. So we are sure or probably will see more companies coming into the market.
Oh, and just a detail there, like you said, and like all of these companies, and each company can hold up to 3 brands. So I can have one, like, I don't know, let's say, Isadora brand, company, and then I can have up to 3 brands under my name. So I can have 3 different, sports betting sites operating, which is like, it give you already, 3 times more than the companies that we already have applied. So it's a lot of people. Sorry, Fear.
Yeah. So they're going to make a very big marketing effort, and they're probably going to have to go to traditional advertising. And that has become like a very big focus in other regulated markets that are saying, okay, so maybe betting companies are being a bit too aggressive with their advertising, with their marketing campaigns. So that may bring a negative impact also on the industry, because there's like a fine line with integrity and advertising of betting and everything. So that is also going to be a big challenge if this whole ban on X doesn't get overturned.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We've seen that in other markets, right? We've seen that in North America, where you've kind of had the saturation of sports sponsorships. We've even seen it in the UK, and obviously a much more mature market where, and it has led to a lot of negative press.
But things could be actually more difficult as time goes by, because this morning we're just like heard the news that a parliamentarian from the Labour's Party, which is the party of our president, Lula, asked to ban all the promotions and marketing around sports betting. So this could be like even more difficult for us in the next couple of months or next year.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, but that sounds a bit of a long shot, really. Like there's a lot of initiatives like that in different countries of Latin America, but no, not in Brazil, but in general.
Yeah, they presented the bill. So it's just like, it's a matter of voting. And I don't believe that it will win. Like, actually, the Congress will vote in favor of it. I don't believe that. But it's just to see that we have a lot of movements against our industry. Yeah. And this is just another one.
Isa, you're going to drop that bombshell on us as I was about to wrap up. That's quite the news story, quite the mic drop there at the end of the show. Another episode, sequel, cliffhanger. But yeah, so there's we should clear that up though, that it's unlikely that will get passed, but the very fact that it's kind of circling around the ecosystem, that type of regulation is being mentioned, it's being put forward, is a sign that, the industry should probably take note of.
Definitely. 100%.
Really interesting stuff. And we could talk about this for a long period of time. We have spoken about it for a while, but we could continue this discussion. And one thing for sure, I've been at a lot of SBC conferences all over the world in the past couple of years, and Brazil has been a hot topic wherever you go. So I'm sure next week in Lisbon, it's going to be at the forefront of the agenda for many discussions. And there's going to be a lot of discussion around this and marketing strategies in the Brazilian market. And I look forward to seeing you there. And thank you both for your insights today. And have a great week.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.